The Riddler was right. Edward Nashton is not your typical power-hungry villain. He is a man who, after going through injustices in his day-to-day life, decides to take revenge into his own hands. He is a character that led Bruce Wayne to question if he was really on the right path, and that perhaps time ended up proving him right after the destruction of the city. In this video, we'll be looking at why the Riddler was right, and whether we'll see him in the Penguin series. And for more videos of your favorite series and movies, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. Welcome to the Oasis Geek. To understand why the riddle ended up being right, we must start at the beginning. His story, although similar to Bruce Wayne's, has many differences. When Edward was just a child, he was abandoned in a Gotham orphanage. It is said that he didn't even have a name when he was abandoned, and his upbringing was not an easy one. He was a child who was afraid to talk or play with other children. He was reserved, but very intelligent. From an early age, he developed an obsession with puzzles and dreamed of a world where justice existed and where he could be happy. However, he saw how little by little his hopes of being adopted or cared for in the hands of a corrupt system would never be fulfilled. He saw how other people, like Bruce Wayne, enjoyed the benefits of a corrupt system and a corrupt family, while what young Edward could aspire to was to be a simple singer in the Gotham City orphan choir. Edward's childhood was not a good one. He was tormented by other children who saw him as someone different and lived in subhuman conditions. The orphanage was full of rats and very bad food. The funds destined to this orphanage were diverted by corrupt families. Part of these people who benefited were the Wayne family. And it is one of the reasons why this man hated Bruce so much. Edward thought that the world had been cruel to him and that he should get even. It is said that on one occasion he tricked one of the children who were bothering him and took them to mix some chemicals, causing a big explosion. This explosion caused the child to almost lose his life. As young Edward used to spend his time isolated from the rest of the children, he spent his time studying chemistry and developing puzzles. He was different from others. He was a gifted child with an IQ that few appreciated. But young Edward had one hope. There was a Gotham charity fund founded by Thomas Wayne that could help him get into college. Edward sang at Thomas Wayne political events with the promise that they would cover all his expenses. The result was as expected. After the death of Thomas and Martha Wayne, Edward's scholarship applications were rejected. This is where Edward's story takes a 180-degree turn, and he begins to commit criminal acts. He begins planting explosive devices and investigating why he had been denied all of his scholarships. He realizes that the system is rigged in favor of the powerful, and in a desperate attempt to erase all traces of his painful past, he is responsible for setting fire to the orphanage where he grew up. But this would not be the end of the Riddler. He enrolls in a community college in Gotham, where several teachers are impressed by his intellectual abilities. Possibly at this point, Edward was already starting to radicalize his ideas, but he remained under the radar as a simple student. While Edward was trying to find his place in the world, he got a job at a financial firm. There, he began to become radicalized through the internet and to obsessively admire Batman, believing that he shared all of his ideals. The combination of his resentment towards society and his admiration for Batman brought Edward to a point of no return. In his work as a forensic accountant, he uncovered a web of corruption connecting high-level political and criminal figures in Gotham. He realized that the renewal program, which was supposed to help those in need, was actually a facade for money laundering and other illicit activities. This meant that all the needs he endured as a child and all the suffering he went through was the fault of the politicians, who in conjunction with the mafia were diverting the money. This discovery was the straw that broke the camel's back. From this point on, Edward would stop being a victim and use all his intelligence to destroy the corrupt. He would not allow other orphan children to suffer as he did. Edward would become the Riddler, someone similar to Batman, a vigilante who would help find justice. or at least take revenge on those who made his life a living hell. The Riddler began sending cryptic messages and riddles to the authorities and Batman, challenging them to unmask the truth. Each of his crimes was meticulously planned to reveal a deeper level of corruption. He laid clues that only someone with his level of intelligence could follow, ensuring that his message reached those he wished to reach. His actions were not simply acts of terror, but a twisted form of justice. He wanted to show the world that the system was broken, and that the real villains were those in power who exploited the innocent. However, Batman disagreed with his methods, or at least he was trying to show that. In a deleted scene from Batman, the Joker taunts Batman. He tells him that the Riddler is a fan of the Bat, and that perhaps Batman fears that the Riddler is right and makes him look like a weakling. We will create a video of this scene in the future, but the important thing is that for the Joker, Batman and the Riddler are the same. Vigilantes with silly rules, but in the end, just as damaged as he is. The fact that Batman stopped the Riddler was somewhat disappointing to Edward, as he thought the Bat would be more empathetic to his cause. To the Riddler, Batman is weak and someone who is defending Gotham's corrupt system, and who could blame him? Now that the Riddler has taken down the head of the most powerful family, it really has created a power void that has quickly been filled. It's as if Batman's actions made no difference. Perhaps the only real change was the one made by the Riddler, and there may come a time when Batman understands that this antagonist was right. However, the Riddler was arrested and sent to the asylum, where Sophia Falcone and other characters such as the Joker and Harley Quinn were also in the asylum. For me, it is no coincidence that the story of Sophia, the Joker, and the Riddler places them at the same time in this asylum for dangerous criminals. I think in the future we could see a union between the Joker, the Riddler, and Sophia, since in the end, the Riddler wants to destroy Gotham because he believes that the city is so corrupt that everything must be rebuilt from scratch. Perhaps this plan is shared by the Joker and Sophia, but we'll talk about that later. I also believe that at any moment we may see Sophia seeking the opinion of the Riddle in the Penguin series, so we will be watching for the development of the story. But tell me, what do you think about all this? Do you think the Riddler was right and the only way to improve Gotham is to destroy it and create a new city from scratch? Could it be that Batman was too weak and only protects the same corrupt system? Do you think we will see him in the Penguin series? Share your opinion in the comments. And for more videos of your favorite series and movies, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. You are on The Oasis Geek.